Welcome to Sponsored by Nobody. This week, sponsored by Leaves. They fall and you pick them up. Then what? It is November 2020, and you are listening to Leaves in the Jungle, Season 1, Episode 0. Game will be using the Wildsea system and Wildsea world setting. So for this session, we're just going to we've just finished Episode 1, and we're going to kind of discuss our thoughts and feelings towards the game so far, as well as maybe hint towards some of the things upcoming in this season. Do people want to do a character description of their main characters, please?
Sure. My main character is his name is Tsitsiyaku, and he's a Zealocray. He's a solo shankling who specializes in wave running and surviving without a ship. He's surprisingly special looking because he's hanging from his multiple armored plates, his different scarves and lanterns for signaling purposes.
Very cool. Okay. Someone else?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Biff.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So my main is going to be Baruka, or Rook, because that is much easier for her shipmates to say. And also Scraps. And Rook is a ardent shankling rattle hand. So she's the one who's mostly going to be holding the ship together, but she's really not a fighter. So by her side, she's got her trusty hound Scraps, who is looks like a very large dog, but their species evolved to be much better at tree climbing, so they've almost got kind of monkey-like limbs. And Scraps is just, her giant, adorable, fearsome puppers who looks out for her because she can climb trees and everything like a shankling can, but she's really not that great at fighting. She mostly just likes to become obsessive about everything that she can learn, fiddling with the ship and putting things together and listening to stories and all that. She's also somewhat meticulous. She likes things to have an order and a sense of rhythm, and the chaotic nature of their world is not something that she's hugely comfortable with, and that's kind of why she wants to go into it, so that she can make sense of it all and understand it. And yeah, she will get a little crazy if you try and rearrange her space for her, because she knows where everything is, and please don't touch that. But, she will also make you a lovely pot of tea once you have stopped touching her things.
Excellent.
So yeah, I'm Dylan. I'm going to be playing Jisan Aoga. It's a Gao, and functions as the char, or the ship's cook. Let's see. About 4.5 feet tall. Has flesh that changes tone based on mood, climate, and intent, and uses this for purposes of natural camouflage. Generally bounds around the kitchen atop his mechanical leg, singing adapted opera tunes and making food from questionable substances.
Excellent. And lastly, but not least,
I'm Jonathan, playing Gomez Moonglow, also an Ectus, and don't you look at me like that, sweetie. Gomez is named after my youngest cat, and my wife was just giving me a look. He's a kind of an aging cactus man, but they have a knack for finding really good salvage and then fixing it up even more. So I'm hoping to really put together the aspects spit and polish and master salvager together. One of which can remove remove one negative tag from salvage that you find, and the other improves the rarity of salvage. So we can find that good stuff, make it better, and then sell it for even more. They also have an ability to use any charts that they have to just find shipwrecks and disasters. So I'm looking forward to figuring out how all that, like how that engine in the system works.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I loaded up while you're making a character, it comes in 4 steps. Name and then the other 3 steps. Bloodline, origin, and post, and each of those allow you to pick, like, do you want like one of these things of salvage or whispers or specimens or charts, and those 4 things all do different things, and I just went all in on whispers and charts. So I have 3 whispers, 3 charts, and I'm looking forward to just burning through them as we play.
Just exploring everything you can.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah, I'm just gonna pull every lever that you give me. It's gonna be good.
I'm very excited. Yeah, actually, that segues nicely into character creation for this game is pretty cool. It's fairly straightforward and simple. It can be done in almost no time. Bev took less than 3 days to finish her character, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, for me,
just
yeah.
kidding.
For me, that's pretty good.
I'm just teasing, but yeah. So no, it was, well, yeah, Bev, you're kind of our newest player, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
I would disagree with that. I feel
Okay,
like Dylan's our
sorry.
newest player. He literally made his character today.
No, but I mean like our newest, as in the person who's probably played the least tabletop RPGs.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
The fledgling.
Yeah. So what would you how would you describe character creation, Bev?
Well, yeah, like you said, I mean, like I have done some tabletops before, but I think, like what I've done, like some 5e and some Pathfinder, and when I'm doing those, I feel like there's always a little part of me that's like stressed that I didn't check all the boxes and get all my numbers and what's my bonus and my modifiers and like all these. I'm always like in character creation, pounding down my DM, like almost like, can you give me like a private tutoring session to make sure I got all the things, because I don't think I did it all right and I'm gonna screw something up. So this process was very much like I like it. It's like, okay, here's your thing, pick 2 of these. I like these 2. Okay, you're done. Cool. What are the other things? Those done. And then and I was really surprised, like when I first like saw like the character sheet and the coming through it and like going like, oh, there we go, I'm done and I've got everything and I can start to come up with who this person is now. Okay, cool. So yeah, I really did appreciate how it didn't feel like when you're reading a contract and there's hidden fees, I feel like there's always hidden things I need to fill out, and I like how it didn't feel like any of that. It just made sense.
Excellent. Yeah, great description. Thank you. Yeah, anyone else have anything to add to character creation?
Oh man, I loved it. I learned to read on like old BattleTech and AD&D, and what's the other one? Like one of the old like just D6 Star Wars role-playing books.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, I learned from Archie.
Yeah, like I didn't, I didn't like, I could not read well enough to understand them, because a lot of them are very complicated games. But then I come to this one, I'm like, oh, okay. Like I threw a character together in about 15 minutes. Like,
yeah.
They weren't super well thought out, and when I was playing them, I was realizing that, oh boy, I did not min-max that character at all. So I'm like, oh, I have like 1 die for this roll. All right, well, oops.
That sorry to interrupt here quick.
Yeah.
I will say though, min-maxing in this system doesn't seem to be too big of an issue though, because you cap out at 6 dice, I believe, and honestly, even if you have a 0 in something, odds are you can still probably get 2 dice out of it if you are narratively good.
Yeah, like it was just kind of awkward because like my edges didn't really match up with the skills that I picked. I was
that's fair.
Oops, oopsies, didn't see that coming. But I'm hoping that my main character, that Gomez, will be a little bit more smooth in that regard.
Oh yeah, and then there's also like with your edges and stuff, like you can flavor them to work with different skills too. Like you can go a little more abstract with some things, which is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, anyone else have some interesting notes on character creation?
I like how like each character, even though this template so far is really like strict, quote unquote, it's still like you can end up with a different character each time, just with like little minor tweaks, even with how limited
Yes.
it is. So I'm excited to see what'll happen with the full unlocking.
Yes, actually, that brings up a very good point that I should have mentioned earlier. We are currently playing with the playtest rules as this game is on Kickstarter and has not fully been released. So these rules are in alpha or beta or whatever terminology you want to call it. These are not the finished, polished rules we are working with. I don't even know if we're even working with the fully up to date Kickstarter rules currently. So please take everything we do and say with a grain of salt.
Well, we're all gamers. We love salt.
Yeah, exactly.
Salty chips,
so-
salty popcorn.
We I know our first session is gonna be with like one group of people who are all just kind of like a little bit more heroic, a little bit more gung ho, and we're just kind of giving them 4 dice to all their stats because the main group that we're gonna play are the ones that I think we just introduced on this episode.
Yes.
And
yes.
so once we get into that group, that's when you'll see like, okay, do I have an advantage here? What is my edge that I'm using? A little bit more of that. First group was just us stretching a little bit and also kind of setting up for what's to come.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The first episode of this season is going to be I gave everyone 4 dice to just kind of roll with and they don't need to build their own dice pools. They don't need to do any of that stuff because it's 4 boating and 4 shadowing. I'll leave. So yeah, no, the first episode will be a little weird, but it was our warm-up episode. It was kind of we were testing our feet in the water, so to say. Episode 2 will
I'm excited to
be
get
our
off the
main
rails in our
characters.
custom carts.
Our what did, sorry?
I'm excited to get off the rails in our custom carts.
Yes.
This world has a
No,
lot to explore, and it's so fascinating.
Yeah, episode 1 had very rigid rails. Episode 2 onward, there will be no rails. It will be this world is so wonderful for just exploring things and having fun, and the way they've done the narrative feel and the way they've almost forced, but in a good way, the inclusion of everyone's opinions on that narrative feel is excellent. Like starting every episode with just a fun narrative exercise is something they've done on the playtests, and I will be carrying that through to our game as well.
Nice.
How dare you?
What are you trying to bring here? Whimsy?
Fun and frolicking?
I don't want fun for my games.
How dare.
I want terrible punishment
sign
to
up for that.
creativity and risk.
The name's Buzz Killington, not Have Funnington.
Yeah. Anyone have any other notes? Let's see here. What about ship creation? So ship creation is kind of cool because you start out with 6 points to create a ship, and then every character gets 3 points, or stakes they're called, so that everyone feels like they have a stake in character creation, or in ship creation, I should say.
What I really
Speaking
like
of-
about that, sorry, just really quick, is like when you're making your character, it's such an independent act, and I feel like sometimes by the time you start a campaign, it's like I have sunk all my time and energy into the me part of it, and now all you guys want to be your story, but like it's like almost a collaborative character creation, and it kind of like starts some group bonding right off the bat, and I like that as a way to make it feel less isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember when we started building the ship, and I was like, all right, everybody, I like compensating for things. So I like the biggest ship. However, I'm not married to that idea, and you all don't have to ride my dumb jokes. So, so we compromised. Everyone was like, we'd really prefer like the standard size ship, and I said that's totally reasonable.
Also, we
Yeah.
broke.
You what? Sorry.
Also, we broke.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, we have another sailor. That means we have 3 more points.
Yeah, I was just wondering that. Although I did look at the ship, did you guys mod it with his points
We
already? 'Cause
did.
I
We
Has
thought
been
I saw
modified.
some. Yeah, they added some things. We got a crane lifter thingy now, a
That's
cargo
good.
crane. What
That's
else did
for
we
our salvage master.
All right, and we also we've got more people.
Yeah. You
The
got the.
spearfish-
Here. Dylan, do you want to discuss the ship creation? What you did?
Well, I loved it right from the get-go. I immediately was like, okay, well, we need more saw. Obviously, we need more saw. Just need more saw. But then I thought about it, and yeah, like as you were saying with the stakes, the way that we all pitch in a way that's not maybe necessarily for our characters themselves, right? For example, the kitchen or the galley on the ship existed before my character even existed.
I really wanted that.
Exactly. And now that I can take advantage of that, I didn't need to be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to throw a galley in because it already exists, right? So I was
Mhm.
like, oh, what can I do that's going to improve the overall success or take advantage of another character's primary strength, right? And then I realized that we just have so many resources coming. Like we're a total non-combat party boat, right? Like all fishing, all resources all the time. And I was
Can
like,
we
yeah,
add
you know what?
sound system to
Let's double down on that. Let's literally just dredge up all of the resources and then hopefully never run into trouble.
I love it.
I in one of the playtest games, we made a ship that had 5, like a rating of 5 in saws, and that was awesome. And then we rolled it, and it was like 3-2-2-2-1-1, or like 3-2-2-2-1. It was like, oh, okay then. It's too bad, whoever it is we run into. And yeah, we definitely ran into another ship. It wasn't great.
How did you change the gang up to be just different from the book?
What's that?
Dylan,
Yes.
how did you change the gang up to be like different from the book?
Oh, the stargazers themselves?
Yeah.
So I was discussing this earlier, and I was thinking like a tribe of like nocturnal like moth folk, semi-humanoid, right? Generally
Oh.
quite creepy, right? And they spend all day hanging around in the rafters under deck, not really doing or saying anything. And then at nighttime they come out and they spend all night staring up at the stars and collecting like astral whispers, so to speak.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I'm totally as Firefly of this campaign, I am 100% on board with you guys flavoring things however you want. Like Bev's pet, I believe she has. I think the actual where is it here?
It's
It's
supposed
terrifying.
to be a. Well, no, I think it's supposed to be what they say, like a lichen. Like it's supposed to be
it's
like
a
wolf.
lupin.
Lupin.
Yeah, it's a wolf.
Lupin.
Yeah, it's just supposed to be like almost a standardy wolf-like companion. I mean, again, people can flavor it however they want, I'm sure. But you might have some people saying, "Oh, it says here it's a wolf. Okay, it's a wolf." But Bev took that, and again, please describe your thing again for listeners.
What did I actually write? Because I wrote down.
There's also a sketch too.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
sketch is really cool. I don't know if we'll ever post the sketch, but
It's not a final sketch. It's just a first draft.
that's fair. We as players have seen this sketch, and it is wonderful.
So you're. I'm not that good at drawing. Anyway, okay. So if you know dog breeds, I was kind of just looking up larger dog breeds, and I landed on Leon Burger. Just seemed to have the right mix of large and potentially intimidating in a fight, but also adorable and floppy ears. So how I described it is if a Leonbergers evolved into monkeys to survive. So it's very dog-like, but the limbs have kind of grown longer and more like a primate or a monkey, where they're longer and lankier, and they have full fingers on both paws, much in the same way that a monkey does, but like even longer than a human's would be. And the tail is prehensile, and it can just so that he can crawl around and like something that, because like I can't really picture a big dog living on treetops, but a monkey dog I totally could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's wonderful. And so like, or for example, Austin, you
Yeah.
have the Sentinel Skywing aspect. So it says a watchful bird that scouts for you. But instead of having a regular bird, what type of bird are you having?
I have a cordyceps infected red kite.
Yeah, so you got this like epic zombie bird or like mushroom zombie kind of thing.
Yep. Then I
Yeah.
also have a spider companion too from my race. And they hang out
Yeah.
and give me all the secrets from the sky above. I get a bird's eye view on things.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm definitely all for you guys changing up this thing and narratively describing it however you want and how creative you can get, because this system really allows for that and really rewards that, I think, which is pretty cool.
The system is also really forward on oops all pet characters.
Yes.
Like you could just come through it, just everybody has like 3 or 4 either animals or just people who are animals, and just it's so good. It's so good. I've heard some like kind of joke builds, but they're not really joke builds. Like, we know it's okay.
Well,
Yeah.
It's like our spearmen are murlocs, and our mantises are like mantis lemurs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I really wanted a lemur pack, but we didn't have use for that, so we'll just make the mantises into lemurs.
Yeah,
Sort of.
why not?
Well, I just
Cool.
kind of picture like mantises, but they're bigger and fluffier
With a lemur tail.
with the lemur tail, and like the face is like halfway there.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
I'm imagining
That's
like
such
some of the
a-
varieties are ones like those spider mantises or flower mantises. So when they sit still, they
Ooh.
just look like flowers.
Yeah, and your ship's just like absolutely gorgeous with all these like flowers and like lemur mantises all over. Oh, your ship's amazing.
I feel like that was Illidan's influence.
Yeah.
Although I kind of like, like for flavor, the idea these things just kind of showed up in the interim.
Just a ship in the beacon of the night glowing with like stargazers and glowing mantises.
Nobody can sleep because it's so glowy.
Ain't nothing
Somebody
but
turn down our ship.
Turn your ship off. We can't.
The neighbors are calling. How?
Yeah.
Turns out
no,
the strobe effect is just saying F you over and over again.
I do wish that we had some kind of equipment that would let us get a free piece of salvage. But
We have a crane now.
We can
it didn't exist. So
Yeah.
like we have mantis sentries, and the mantis sentries just kind of find a specimen whenever we either drop anchor or dock at a port.
You
Well,
bet they
same with
do.
spearfishers.
They
And
also
spearfishers-
eat the insects off the deck, so we don't have to worry about them should we have to have them.
Yeah.
Spearfishers get one specimen for us when we cut a path or dock at a port.
And they deal with
And that's-
rodents.
Yep. And then stargazers get us a free whisper whenever we drop anchor or dock at a port. So basically, as long as we're not what's it called, pushing forward or
Forging ahead.
yeah, as long as we're
Yeah.
not forging ahead, we get something.
Yeah.
Nice.
We remember too with Dylan being the char, he gets to use all the edible organic bits we get.
Specimens. Yeah.
That's it,
The other advantage also to having that is that our engine is filled with bees, and those run. It's the fuel for those, according to the book, is flowers and honey. So yeah, having a lot of specimens handy to feed us and feed the ship would go nicely.
Yeah.
We won't starve. That won't be our problem. Somebody could come and murder all of us, but
We have a monster
we'll
hunter
be
set up now where
full
we
when
get
they
buffs from our
do.
chef.
Gomez actually has 1 point in cook as well, so he could definitely be like a sous chef.
Excellent.
We just
I look
completely
forward to
stop
accidentally
adventuring
spiking.
and open a ship restaurant with a great sound system.
What's a little bit of hallucinogenic mushrooms between friends?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I have hallucinogenic spores, so I highly look forward to spiking the cuisine both for us and other people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
No, the char rulebook or the char post, I think it is. Yeah, the char post. Apparently has been a well requested one, and so they made it completely canon just a little while ago, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, so what about playing? How did you guys feel about playing episode 1? How did the game feel? Again, episode 1 was a little bit weird, and definitely A, we're using the playtest rules, and B, I railroaded it hard and did a few fudging to kind of let you guys test the system.
I'm not super confident on whether I should be like when you're dropping hints the way you were, whether I should be waiting for you to break or if I should be interrupting you to say what kind of type of skill I want to do in the moment.
That's fair. And that's a play thing, but also I think as we play more together, maybe I tend to ramble, so interrupting me is not a huge issue, especially if you want to be doing something. But this game also is very narrative, so if you're just listening on it, like I'll give you some hints here and there as best I can. But if you want to do something different, feel free to narratively be like, oh, Ian's describing this beautiful mountain range in the distance. Well, I see this neat tree over to the left, and I'm going to investigate that. Like, totally, the way this narrative system works, it's totally okay to do that.
Okay, because I know like there's some things you're describing that seem you're like this is intriguing and that's intriguing. I'm like, do I say I want to check it out? Is that a hint? Should I be waiting? What's the etiquette here?
That's fair. That's
it's
fair.
Always
And that
time for a character to just completely overhaul whatever the DM was saying, to take things in a completely different direction. That's just how these games work.
And that's the wonderful thing about this system is because it's a narrative-based system, it's okay to do that. There's not going to be any railroads for this. There's not, well, other than episode 1. And there's not going to be any, like, if I tell you guys, like, oh, you heard a rumor about these really cool animals, and you guys are like, we all hate animals. That's fine. Like, you guys can go off and do a different thing. Like, I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm not going to be worried about it. It's, that's up to you. You're going on this adventure, and I'm just along for the ride to help you as best I can.
And with our setup too, I think we won't really have to worry about sure, we won't find salvage as passively as we do with all of our gang, but we can make it our point to go for salvage to do the things that we're lacking. The resources and specimens we're getting could supply us the ability to get better salvage.
And now that we have that cargo crane, it means that we can go in, find salvage, and be like, all right, I'm going to use the ship as an advantage because we just have a crane. I don't have to carry this all back with me.
You can recover a whole vehicle now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We could get a real working car. I actually had an idea about having.
You could get a mystery box, and it could be a boat.
I know. We've always wanted one of those. Oh, Family Guy when it was still.
Play the crane gacha game, guys.
Jokes.
It could be a Leviathan or a scary
I'll take the box.
So
you do not have time for me to go on rants about Family Guy.
Right? Ugh.
Okay, sorry, Dylan, go ahead there.
Oh, I said we'll take the box.
Yeah.
We went for the mystery box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, so Austin, you're right. Episode 1 was a little weird, and we're still getting our feet as a group also. We're getting to know each other and how we play. Because some of us have played together, some of us haven't, and some of us have played in different groups together and other stuff. So yeah, we're still feeling all each other out, but no wrong questions. And yeah. Any other comments about playing?
I'm looking forward to doing it more.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
actually
man.
really like the system.
I'm
Like it's
super excited for this setting. The setting just caught me so hard when I saw it.
like
Yeah.
like I just really started gaming with like 3rd edition D&D. Like I bought the 3.0 handbook because 3.5 was just a thing people were talking about coming out in the future. It was not a good game, but I didn't know any better. And so like I've gradually gone from like game to game and bounced around a little bit. I think that like a lot of people who like Fate would really like this game.
Yeah.
I mean, they might not like it just because it's not Fate, and that's fine. Like I get it. You know, you when you like a system, you know, you're like, this is the system I play. And that's fine. But I've tried Fate. I just don't like Fate.
Aw. Yeah. No, anyone who listens to our podcast even a little bit knows that we jump system to system. We have a few favorite systems, but we do test a lot of systems and we do play a lot of different systems because every system has something there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a reason people play it. Sometimes the reason personally might not be a good reason, and sometimes the reason might be a really good reason, but there's other things in the system that just don't mesh the same. So yeah, it's neat to see different systems and play them. And as you say, like your first adventure into tabletop RPGs was 3.0. I believe I still have somewhere around here in the house. I have the original. I want to say it was like that starter box, and I want to say it was 3.0 as well, or it could have been even 2, second
Maybe.
edition. I don't know. But yeah, I have
it's a bygone era.
Yeah, I have that starter box somewhere, and I remember as a kid having absolutely, and I mean absolutely no idea how to play the game. But me and my friends would just make up stats, make up rolls, and just role play and run around the entire house role playing and pretending and say we were playing D&D, but we genuinely were doing just creative kid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just with some different flavor to it, and we threw dice at each other once in a while because that was part of the game, and we knew that. We didn't know what the dice did, but
I'm really excited to see how our ship's combat goes, like our encounters with our ship.
Yeah,
because we've designed such a floating menagerie of non-combat.
I feel like maybe my character's first project needs to be just a single gun.
Yeah.
Or a net, something to mess up somebody's saw
a
system.
net gun!
A tiny net.
Like those things that the cops started
using. A tiny
using.
net is a death sentence.
Like those things that the police started using, they're like front-mounted like belts that they just ram into people's tires and it jangles them up so they can't drive anymore.
Last comments or statements about the game?
Try it, buy it, play it.
Try it.
If you're
I love it.
curious because you hear everybody talking about tabletops, but like it's intimidating because the character sheet has a million things and there's so many dice and how do I modify? Try this one. It's much more, that. Cool.
Yeah, but it still has the meat of those more depth games.
It's got all the fun parts, but not all the all the math. Why am I doing math for fun?
Yeah, full flavor, zero chewiness.
It creates that interesting blend of there's not like a hard line between the combat and the narrative side, so your character isn't just one or the other, or your game isn't just I like this and or I just like that. Kind of it blends them perfectly well.
Several of you don't even have any attack stats on that note, which is totally fine. Exactly. Like you, as you say, narrative and combat blend together.
Like, depending on your perspective, stealth could be considered a combat skill, aka staying the hell out of combat skill.
Very valid, yeah. No, and that's the narrative aspect of it, right? Like you're using a skill Heck, you could use cooking as a combat skill because you could prep ahead of time.
Oil
very
grease to the
spicy-
face.
Mhm.
Yeah, or a very spicy meal, and you like
Or some
throw it at
rotten
the, like
somethings.
yeah,
Pepper spray. Just like
Yeah.
take a pepper shaker to the face.
awesome. And on the note of pepper shaker to the face, I think we'll cut it there. And I was Ian.
I was Austin.
I'm still Bev.
I'm Dylan.
I'm Jonathan.
And we were sponsored by Nobody. Signing off.